Welcome to Whistle Talk, where we dive into the world of football officiating like never before. On today's show, I'm thrilled to have with us the incredible Kat Conti, the first female football official in Big 12 history. A trailblazer in the officiating world, Kat discusses how she got started and the challenging journey that has taken her all the way to the professional level. Get ready to uncover the secrets behind the stripes and hear firsthand from one of the most respected officials in the game. That's coming up next on Whistle Talk. Are you a football fan? Have you ever found yourself wondering what in the world was that ref thinking? Well, Mike D, the referee, is here to help. Join me on Whistle Talk as I talk to professionals on the field and in the booth to help you understand what is going on inside the mind of a football official. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the next episode of Whistle Talk. Today I got the honor and the privilege to have with us she was the first female official in the Big 12 conference of the Power 5 conferences in Division I football. I have Kat Conti coming to us all the way from California. With that, I'd like to say hello and thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Mike. So glad to be here. Just thanks for reaching out. And, I love your purpose for the show of just spreading the word about officiating and potentially getting people interested and really kind of, pulling the curtain back, real talk, real whistle talk. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, Kat, you are, for me, a big privilege to have on my show. You are the first female official that I have at the Division I level that I've had the pleasure of talking with, and pre-roll, we were just chatting about some of the different things and some of the different roles. So, if you don't mind, going back to what got you into this journey? I mean, you've got an impressive journey already. Where did you start from? What were your grassroots like?
Yeah. So, I don't know how many times I've told this story, but the good news is it doesn't change, so I don't have to make it up. I, I graduated from a small college in Santa Barbara and everyone was going to do these great, awesome things. And I had student loans to pay off. So I was going to go home and get a job. And, but I got tired of telling everybody that because my life sounded very boring. And so, in college, most people kind of knew that I was a fan of watching football. And so I started lying to everybody for my own entertainment and telling them that I was going to move to San Francisco and be a yard marker for the 49ers. And I didn't even know what it was called, right? A yard marker. I was talking about the chain crew,
Yeah.
right? And everyone goes, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, I would." I would always follow up with, "Oh yeah, those old guys in the orange vest? Like, I'm totally going to do that." And this, I know you're old enough to remember. Some of your listeners may not be, but this was before the internet, before cell phones, 1997. And I said, "Yeah, I've made some phone calls, written some letters. Like, look for me on TV next year." So that's how I left college. So cut to, I go home. I do just kind of get a job. I'm, waiting tables and working at a sports bar. And a local head coach named George Contreras that I am still friends with actually to this day,
Awesome.
24 years later. And he was having lunch one April and I said, just out of curiosity, how does one get that job? Because I'm watching NFL football and I'm like, dude, best seat in the house. And you're going to pay me to do that? Like, I can stand on a sideline, hold a stick and have John Gruden, spittle, close. Yes, I'm all about that. So, and he said, well, a lot of them are retired officials. And I immediately thought, oh, well, there goes that idea. And he said, I'm serious. He said, I think you'd like it. I think you'd be good at it. And so, as you know, being a high school official, there's usually a geographic area and there's a guy called the assigner. And so he's usually the person in charge of running the entire organization, what games people work, what positions they work, everything. So this coach gives me this guy's number. And I pick up, this is April, I pick up the phone and call him and he says, okay. I said, oh, I'm interested in football officiating. And he said, okay, show up to Ventura High School Little Theater at 6:30 p.m. on August 14th. And I was like, and then click. I was like, oh, all right. Out of sight, out of mind. Like, all right. Okay. I guess there goes again. There goes that idea. So, I happened to have the day off work. The same coach came into my restaurant and gave me a newspaper clipping. That's how long ago this was. Um, an actual newspaper clipping of the
Yeah.
presentation meeting information. It was a Tuesday. I had the night off work, and I thought, what have I got to lose? So that was August, whatever, 2000. And I walked up and saw a small group of guys outside. A guy that looked like Captain America got a huge smile on his face and stuck out his hand and welcomed me. And I thought, all right, maybe we can do this. We got upstairs. Another old guy is, freaking frack. They're both older than buckled shoes. And he comes up to me with a yellow legal pad. And before he puts it on the desk, he looks at me and he says, this is football officiating. And I said, yeah. And he said, not volleyball. And I said,
Wow.
huh? And he goes, contact sport. I said, great. He's like, and he kind of shrugged and put down the yellow legal pad for me to fill out my contact information. And that was the beginning.
Oh, wow. So you had challenges right from Jump Street right there, huh?
From the get-go. Just want to make sure I was in the
Yeah.
right place. Just want to make sure I
Yeah,
was in
yeah.
the right
Well,
place.
he seemed to emphasize that.
He did.
But
Yeah.
so now, did you started off now working high school games not long after that?
Pop Warner games and high school freshman, and anytime I could go work for free, as a rookie official, they always encouraged us to like get out there and work a fifth man on a 4-person game. And
Hmm.
so every chance I had to be on a football field, I was there. And after my second year of officiating, I found out that you could go to training camps, clinics in the off season, right? So I found and that like blew my mind. I thought, oh my gosh, I don't have to wait till September to do this again. This is like the best thing I've ever found in my life. This is so much fun. And
Awesome.
and so I found the Fresno football officiating camp in 2002. Met the late Ken Rivera and a bunch of other and again, like it blew my mind that people that I now can see on TV are standing next to me, instructing me, helping me, guiding me. Division I officials, NFL officials, Verl Sorg, the Pac-12 supervisor at the time. All of these huge, huge influential people are like here, helping, giving back. It was just such a beautiful camaraderie. And
Yeah.
truth be told, something I had never experienced in any arena, in any area of my life up to that point, other than in college. I was a theater major, drama, right? And
Okay.
so like being a part of a team in that sense, working towards a greater end. So that was my only other experience with that. So it was life changing for me. That also was very it really was a spark, because they choose one camper every camp to all the
Okay.
clinicians. They get together and they choose a scholarship recipient, and the way that they say it is like, we want to encourage, we want to give this to a young official, we want to encourage them to keep going, we see potential, and they're coachable and whatever. And I was named the scholarship recipient that year. And so to have
Wow.
all of these Division I officials and supervisors and just see something in me and that potential, I never looked back, Mike.
And that's awesome. And I love how you touched on, and I had this conversation with a previous coach that I had on recently, just about how it's a family. Like
Mm-hmm.
I remember being in the locker room where I played college football at a small Division III college in New Jersey. And that was a family, and I still am in touch with all of them. And now with the officiating world, just how everybody is out there to help and to guide you and give you hopefully good advice, but we're all here for the same reason, for the love of the sport of football, to make sure the game is run correctly. And I'm finding it now, being doing this podcast, the same thing that you are encountering. Here I am talking with Division I officials that I've been watching on TV and whatnot, where again, I'm just a local guy from New Jersey, and everybody's been awesome with coming on and volunteering to be on the show and spreading the good word of officiating. And again, just the family nature of it. And I missed it. I coached for 20 some odd years. So when I stepped away from that and somebody asked me, hey, do you want to be an official? I'm like, no, no.
Why would I do that?
I've been riding officials for 20 years. Why would I want to do that? And then I sat back and reflected on the conversation a little bit. And I'm like, maybe that is something I should look into. And that led me to my path. And now here I am. I got to work a state championship game this year. I've gotten to work our state's all-star game, our North-South New Jersey
Awesome.
game.
Congratulations. So
So yeah, it's been a fun ride for me. It's definitely on a smaller scale. It is not the Pac-12. It is not the Big 12, which our guest tonight has the pleasure of officiating in. So how did you go from working AYF and or Pop Warner at the time
yeah.
for free to now being one of the Power Five conference officials? How did that roll?
Oh, dude, so much work. So much work. But I think you just, when you find that you're passionate about something, you want to just be really, really good at it. And I believe luck is when opportunity meets preparation, right? I think
Mm-hmm.
we have to be lucky. I think you have to prepare for those moments. Because when that door opens, you have to be ready. So, in the course of getting the opportunity to work a single Division I FCS game, in the course of those next 9 years, I went to 14 off-season camps. I showed up anywhere and everywhere I could on the West Coast. Didn't because I didn't know they were on the East Coast. If I had, I probably would have flown to Michigan, Honig's camp, right? I probably would have gone to Tom
Yeah.
Beer East, which I didn't know they existed, or they didn't exist then.
Yeah.
um, and so I got my first Division I game in the Southland Conference by a guy named Byron Boston, who is still in charge of the Southland Conference, and that was in 2009. I got to work for a wonderful, wonderful gentleman named Mike Burton in the Pacific Northwest. He realized that even though I had gotten opportunities at community college here in Southern California, the Division III supervisor had zero interest in working with a female, to be honest. And so when Mike Burton called me, he said, this is the first, Kat, but trust me, this is not going to be the last of these calls. And I'm honored to be the first to give you an opportunity
That's awesome.
at a real college. So he was a wonderful, amazing to work for. We are still in touch. Very good dude. And then Byron Boston gave me an opportunity to work one game in the Southland Conference. And when he met with me about that opportunity, it was at a training camp at clinic. And he said, there have been opportunities for me to, so let me just say this, Mike, the fact that I'm a woman official, the fact that I'm a female wearing stripes has never not been a part of the conversation.
Okay.
It has never not
Yeah.
been. At the first camp in 2002, the two guys that were working with our crew the whole weekend were like, what can you do with your hair? Like, can we put that away somehow? Right. So it's never,
Really?
yeah. Oh yeah. It has never not been a part of the conversation. Right. So Mike Burton said, the guy down there doesn't want a female. If you can work, I don't care if you're polka dot, purple, whatever. He's like, so I'm going to hire you. Byron Boston had the same attitude. He said, you we know you, we've seen you grow over these last, I met them in 2004, him and Walt Anderson, you know, and he said, we've seen you grow over the last 5 years. We trust you. We know you. We trust your work ethic. It's so much more about just, can you do the job? Yes, you have to do the job.
Yeah.
You have to be able to do the job, but who are you? Right? They can't teach work ethic.
Yeah.
Right? They can teach you
So,
what pass interference is. They can teach you where to stand and where to look, but they can't teach you, you know, to not throw your fellow officials under the bus with a coach.
yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you being the first, you've had to have ruffled some feathers in the male officiating world, I'm sure. What kind of stereotypes, what type of biases have you had to deal with? And obviously, what you're saying, your work ethic has been able to help you plow through those biases, and it doesn't matter, like you said, if you're polka dot or whatnot. If you could do the job, you could do the job. But like, what kind of hurdles did you have to face?
Um, they're not over.
Okay, fair
Every
enough.
single time I walk on a football field, there are still hurdles.
Hmm.
And yes, with coaches, yes, with players, fans. I don't know how many times, you know, I hear, I have heard plenty from, you know, the front row. Blind judge, you suck. Blind judge, go do my dishes. I mean, like, you know, stuff like that.
Well,
But
the line judge, you suck. That goes across the board
that's
for
across the board,
everybody.
right? They don't tell you to go do their dishes though.
That I will definitely give you. You're correct with that one.
But they, you know, and I just had the great opportunity to speak to a clinic a couple weeks ago, and one of the things that I really wanted to drive home was like, not everybody, we have to embrace that not everybody has had our journey, right? So I think having tough conversations is super important. I think being open to hear where we have our own shortcomings and our own blind spots
Hmm.
is super important. I know there are things that I don't understand about, you know, being an official of color. I don't, right? I don't know what
Yep.
those challenges are. And if I'm brave enough and empathetic enough to ask those questions and to listen, then I'm going to learn something and I'm going to grow, right? I'm going to be better for it. So in terms of
Absolutely.
the challenges that I still face as a woman, literally this year, I always have to be concerned about, like, one of my dearest friends and I, she's also a female official, very successful female official. We always talk about, like, oh, I got to care about their feelings, right? You don't think that you have to because y'all are dudes, right? But I do have to care as to whether or not one of my crewmates is going to be uncomfortable with me in the locker room, just my presence, right? What
It's
kind of questions do I bring up? Is my pregame presentation too long, too short, doesn't include enough rule references, right? All of those, you know, do I make excuses when it comes to breaking down our crew evaluate our film, our crew evaluation? Um, like, she never played the game, so maybe she doesn't, you know, really understand the X's and O's. You know, and to be honest, you're probably never going to have a coach in the middle of the game come up to you and say, this game's too fast for you, honey. Right? Which I still
yeah.
get,
I don't think that one's. Yeah, you're right.
which I still get in the Big 12. Right? I had there is a coach in the Big 12 a year ago who said, obviously you just don't understand. Obviously you just don't understand that, like,
Obvi-
you know, that this is an advantage. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. Right? And
wow.
yeah. And he's just a jerk to
Yeah.
everybody, but he gives me a little extra. He gives me a little extra. So still to this day, and you know what, Michael, I will also add though, that I also have coaches, and this is a good thing, but it's also because I'm a woman. I have coaches who, after they lose their composure and yell and get in my face about something, I also have them come up to me at some other point and say, hey, sorry, I lost my cool. Like, this is, you do a good job. They also wouldn't do that for you, but they feel like they
Yeah.
need to tell me that I do a good job.
Well, yeah, it's for some coaches, you being the first female official might be their first experiences having a female
So
official
many.
too. So some of them probably
So,
don't know how to react.
so yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's few and far between that we do have coaches come up to us after the game and say, "Hey, you guys did a great job tonight." And after their assistant coaches tend to ride you every single play and whatnot. And but yeah, again, I don't think I've been called honey, so
I will.
yeah, I think you got me on that
I
one.
would. If we work together,
Oh well, thank you.
if we work together, I would call you honey in the middle of a game, just so you know how it feels.
just to yeah, you got to
Just,
break the tension every
bring you
once
into
in a
the
while.
fold. Make you
Beautiful,
honorary.
thank you. So now it's got to be a good feeling, though, as being a female official, to go back to now some of the coaches, the players, and stuff like that. I mean, your resume speaks for itself. Now, I'm sure that most of them don't understand or don't see the resume pregame, but you've worked in several bowl games. You've worked in the FCS championship game. Um, and that's a national championship game. I don't care what level you're talking about.
Yeah.
FBS, FCS, the Stag Bowl in Division III. That is a national championship game.
Yeah.
Championship game is a championship game. So it's got to be a great feeling, a pride too, when you step out onto the field on those games and say, "Haha, I made it. I'm here."
Yeah. Yeah, I have a couple of incredible mentors. Byron Boston, who I mentioned, is still, very much in my life, is still very much a mentor. He was in the NFL for 25 years. He's worked multiple Super Bowls. He he will tell you himself, but he doesn't have to, because most everybody agrees that he's probably one of the best line of scrimmage officials to ever work. And so to have somebody like that in my corner, but also in my ear, helping me get better. And then the Big 12 supervisor is Greg Burks, and having those two guys really see something in me and put their trust in me has been monumental over the last 15 years, honestly.
That's
And
great.
it couldn't be where I am without them. Walt Anderson, when he was in charge of the Big 12, those three worked very closely. But yeah, I certainly would not be where I am. And every time an assignment comes out, there, you may experience this, but there's quite a bit of imposter syndrome that we struggle with oftentimes, right? With officiating, like, wow. And I think when you asked earlier about a little bit about bias and about perception, most people in the officiating world will say, well, females are getting an opportunity because they're visible, right? They're getting the chance
Uh,
because we need more women, because we need more people of
mm-hmm.
color. That was it for a long time, right? So now it's about being a woman on a football field. Well,
Yeah.
that perception and that bias can get into my head, right? Like, I know the work that I've put in, right? They
Yeah.
don't necessarily see the film study or the rules study or the whatever, me showing up for free to driving 3 hours to
Yeah.
go work a scrimmage somewhere for 1 hour. Remember, we're in LA, we're in Southern
Oh yeah.
California, so to go anywhere in the middle of the day is a 2.5 hour drive for me,
You're stuck in traffic.
stuck in traffic. So yeah, and all of those opportunities that I've gotten, I will say, somebody like Byron or Greg Burks looks me in the eye or calls me on the phone and says, congratulations, you earned this. And it's like they have to remind me that I'm not getting this opportunity as a token, like that I have put in the work, and that so that to me is gratifying. That to me is incredibly gratifying.
That's awesome. That's got to be a great feeling for you. And
Yeah.
Congrats
Thank
on
you.
where you've been and where you continue to go. It is an awesome feeling, and I agree with you 1000%. Color, male, female, whatever, whoever, we need football officials.
Yeah,
If you love
yes,
the
we
game and
do.
you love
Please.
what you're doing,
If you want to be
like
involved in football, if you want to hold on and stand silent and hold a stick, come on out. It's more fun.
yeah, like you said, it's the best seat in the house. You're right there, and that's what it was for me. I had to step away. Coaching was just taking up way too much time away from my family, and I'm like, well, how can I still be involved? And this keeps me involved in the game, and my family is involved with me, and they support what I'm doing, and they're supporting this too right now, even though we're taking a little time away from the family. But it keeps me involved in something that I love, along with keeping my family involved. And again, it doesn't matter who you are, what God you believe in, if you believe in any
Right.
God at all, like not to get into religion, if you're willing to work and do the job, come on out.
Exactly. Exactly. No, totally
so
agree with that.
So with that, we're gonna just take a quick pause here, and when we get back, I'm gonna talk with Kat about just women in sports. We just finished up with the NCAA basketball tournament, which was the highest rated basketball tournament out there.
So
Beat the
freaking
men.
awesome.
So we're just going to talk about the women's side of sports and the officiating, and we're going to dive a little bit more into Kat's specific roles on the football field. I don't know if for the listeners out there that aren't seeing this, Kat's a little bit tinier than I am, and with the position that she's working right now in the professional ranks, it's going to be a good little talk. So come right back. We'll be right back and dive into those. So we'll see you back here in Whistle Talk in a minute. Hey, Whistle Talk fans, are you enjoying what you're listening to? Be sure to hit the like button so that you can join us every week as we break down the nuances of officiating that often go unnoticed. We want to hear from you, the passionate fans who make our game so special. Like what you hear? Hit the like button and let us know. Have a burning question or a hot take? Drop us a comment below to join the conversation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here with Miss Kat Conti. So before we left the break, we talked about a couple of the different things, the nuances with football and things like that. But we're going to kind of take a little bit of a different path here. Um, you're a mom.
I am.
I am not. So there's another thing that we could say that nobody ever says about me. So how is it for you balancing? Because I know my wife, I love her to death, and the stuff that she has to deal with on the mom end that the dad side doesn't truly have to deal with at times. How is that for you with your busy schedule, with the study time and the travel time? How is all that working out?
So I will just say I have been very intentional, but also, again, we talked about luck a little bit. I feel blessed more than lucky, but I have just surrounded myself with the village, created a village. So
Uh-huh.
friends of mine, I had my son a little older. I was 42 when I had him. Yep, I know. I look like I'm 28 still. Feel
Absolutely.
like I'm 28 still, with all the wisdom of my extra 20 years. But no. So I have friends who are near retirement, and so having the aunties and the uncles, and when my first season, first of all, um, again, like just the support that I've had from Byron. I called him in July to tell him that I was pregnant. It was right before our summer clinic, and I was working in the Southland for him. And he said, "Okay, well, I mean, then we can put you in the replay booth for the year." Um, and then I got to go back on the field. Which, by the way, sorry, Mike, you're not going to get that chance, right? If
No,
you decide in Division I football that you want to start pursuing replay, then you come off the field, and that's it. That's the decision, right? So the
I did not
having
know that.
Yeah, so having the benefit of being able to spend a year in the replay booth, um, learning the game from that perspective, I think, has been just a phenomenal perk. Uh,
Okay.
so, I had my son, and he was 9 months old when the next season rolled around. Um, and not to be graphic, but I was a nursing mom, right? So he's 9 months old. I just invited somebody different every week, or some of my friends came to 2 or 3 games. We've got a 10-12 week season. Hey, I'll buy your plane ticket. You want to come hang out with the baby? So we got very good at traveling, and he came with me every single week, and we just kind of made it into a vacation. And we made it work, but the village has been truly the only way. And I'm sure, as you know, your wife, most women, I feel like we have a hard time asking for help. I mean, guys do too, right? I think just human nature sometimes
No
she
pride in here.
okay.
No, I am not stubborn at all, I swear.
Yeah, exactly. Sarcasm. I like it. Um, know it well. But no, I learned really, really quick to like figure out how to ask for help. And so I've become really good at that, really good at allowing myself to be vulnerable and saying, hey, this is what I need. This is what we need. This is what, and so we have this amazing just group of people who have become our chosen family, not necessarily blood relatives, but none of them are blood relatives actually. Um, but no, so balancing that, I haven't yet. He's just starting to play his first sport, which is baseball. And so this is going to be the first time this spring. Hey, there you go.
I got on the
So,
baseball sweatshirt right now for my son's team.
so this spring is the first experience that he and I are having that I'm missing anything. I haven't had to miss any
Okay.
of his stuff yet, because of football. I think
Yeah.
so that is going to be a particular challenge that I have heard from mentors, um, that you make that choice, right? And you have to make that choice to miss your son's Friday night light games, when he's the starting quarterback at, the high school. You have to miss his games because you're getting on a plane to go work your own game. And as
Hmm.
it's so I'm not looking forward to crossing that bridge, but I know that
Yeah.
that's kind of part of the deal. So I think preparing that and officiating and getting to, oh gosh, there's just so many opportunities that he's gotten. He doesn't even know. Trust me, I am keeping all of the digital images. I'm going to put a montage together
Nice.
when of all the places that he has gotten to go. He has been, on the field at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas like 5 times, like running
Oh,
around.
wow.
So it's like things like that. I'm like, bro, come on. Like he's got a picture with all of the UNLV cheerleaders. Like who gets to do that? Nobody gets to do that.
That's terrible.
So I
Terrible.
know, right? I'm trying to be a good mom here. Like, geez.
No, actually, and you kind of just led into my next question of does he truly understand what's going on?
No,
He's still at the young age.
yeah, yeah. But the best part was a year ago. Is it a year ago? Was this last December? I can't remember, but it was probably like this last December. We were sitting at home on our couch, and I had a football game on. I think it was a year ago because he's pretty smart. So he's like 3 years old, about to be 4, and we're sitting on the couch watching a NFL game, playoffs or whatever. And he looks at the TV and he goes, "Mommy, where's you?" I said, "I'm here next to you.
I'm here.
This game is happening right now. I'm here." But he's used to like every time he watches a football game, everybody who's with him is like, "Oh, look, there's mom, there's mom, there's mom." So he's used to when a football game is on, it's because I'm working it.
Gotcha. That's got to be pretty cool. And as a football fan growing up myself, he's a lucky guy right there, that little dude.
Yeah, hopefully he'll figure it out soon.
We're males. It takes us a moment or two.
Understood. Understood.
So now, I kind of touched on it a little bit before. I'm 6'3". I'm a former offensive lineman myself.
Nice.
I'm not going to talk about my weight right now either. It's rude. But how tall are you? If
I'm
I could ask.
5'8". So
Okay, so
I'm tall for a woman, but I'm not tall.
okay, but
But I'm
now
not
you're
6'3".
working. No, not 6'3".
Yeah.
And you're working in now UFL, XFL, or the former XFL, USFL, and now the UFL level.
Mm-hmm.
6'3" is a cornerback, not an offensive lineman anymore. So how does it feel for you to be amongst the giants in there? And now you're also the center judge or the umpire, depending upon what level it is. So you're
Yeah.
now spotting the ball. You're in there with the O line and D line guys. How is that for you physically?
So what I love about the mechanics is they really, the NFL has really stressed, especially with Walt Anderson at the helm, has really stressed moving with purpose. So they don't want us moving a whole lot. They
Yep.
want, obviously science says that if you're not bouncing up and down, your eyes can focus better. Shocking. So they don't want us moving a whole lot, which is nice because now we set up, especially in the middle of the field, the referee and the umpire, they set up in a position where ideally we don't really move. We don't have to move
Hmm.
to get out of the way. Even if the quarterback scrambles, we're 15 yards behind the snap. Even a shotgun quarterback scrambling, or if a left tackle is blocking and blocking and blocking and blocking, they're not going to make it all the way back to 15 yards from where the
Yeah.
line of scrimmage. So in that respect, feel much safer than I did when I worked center judge about 10 years ago, because we were much closer back then. And I did
Yep.
almost have a quarterback run behind me one game. And I was like, oh, snap. Oh, my God. Oh, here we go. Right. And so I was like, oh, no, my goodness. Right.
Well,
Um,
when the quarterback's running, somebody else is usually chasing them. So
oh, trust me, on the sideline as a line judge or a headline judge, uh, the worst play, quarterback scrambling and still behind the line of scrimmage so he can throw
yep.
it. So I mean, that's the worst play for a line of scrimmage official by far. It's my night.
And for the listeners that don't understand that, her job is still to hold the line of scrimmage and make sure the quarterback is behind the line of scrimmage, while also looking at 9 other things, including 21 or well probably 11 other large human beings looking to go get that scrambling quarterback and not knowing if they're going to run or drop back to throw again. So yeah, that's a fun one.
And then ruling also if he does decide to throw it before he goes out of bounds, whether or not the
Oh
pass was
yeah.
caught 8 yards downfield. So yay. No, but really come out and try it. It's really fun. Um,
It
it's
is.
hard.
It truly is.
Fun. But you know what is, I just said to my side judge, we just had our first UFL game this last weekend. And I just, during one of the media timeouts, I went over to him and I just said, why is it that very, very large humans are the biggest crybabies? Why? I don't understand. Like, come on, guys, suck it up, right? So I think the mom in me also, I was a teacher for some time. So I think that part of me comes out when I'm dealing with them, because I'm like, first of all, y'all children, y'all just baby boys, right? And you're trying to be tough, you're trying to be big time, calling each other names, all that stuff. Don't have patience for it. Stop talking. So I will definitely like put on my mom voice, very much so. And, even players, so I thought this was very interesting this last week, even players that are jawing at each other after a play, I'll get in between them and just be like, no, 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 no. Right. Just like I do with my kid. Absolutely
Yep.
not. Right. And so at least 2 times in this last game, after the fact, that player would come up to me and be like, sorry, Miss Ref. Like, I'm trying to be better. I'm trying not to get personal fouls. Da, da, da. I had to tell one player this last week, he goes, I'm trying not to, I'm trying to like still be competitive, but not get in trouble. And I said, well, let me just remind you. I said, if you get in his face, I said, even though you're not hitting him, you get in his face and you instigate and he decides to smack you. I go, you're actually the instigator. He's like, oh, for real? Man, he was like, I'm like, dude, I'm trying to help you,
Yep.
my friend. I'm trying to help you not cost your team 15 yards. So I like it in there.
Yeah. I prefer being in there because I love talking with the players. I love
Yeah.
being with them. Like I said, I was a line judge for a number of years before I moved back into the middle. So being the former offensive line, that's kind of
Mm.
where I feel at home and I could see the game a little bit better. Um, Now, being the line judge, one of the fun parts about being the line judge, which also can not be the fun part, is we got to deal with the coaches all the time. So,
Oh yeah.
how was that as being a female official? You mentioned John Gruden before. Did he? Do you hear him call what is his famous play? Why banana or whatever that all the impersonators talk about?
No, I haven't. I'll have to look that up. I'll have to look that up.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty funny. No, I think dealing with coaches, it trust me, it has definitely been an evolution, right?
Hmm.
It is a big evolution. When you talk about like the arc of a character in like a movie, like that has been, I feel like I've had the odyssey of like my beginning, how do I talk to coaches, to like now, is I've had, whew, it's like a marathon. I have run a marathon in how I talk to coaches. Um, I think in the beginning, I felt like I had something to prove. I think like most new officials
Okay.
do. Um, one, one of my favorite stories happened, I think my second, maybe my third year officiating. Big JV game, under the lights, crosstown rivals. I'm on the chain side. So I'm with the visiting team.
Hmm.
And first quarter, the score is 6-7. And
Ooh.
I go introduce myself to this crusty old head coach before the game. Hi coach, how are you? My name's Cav. We work in your sideline, this game. And he's like, all right, Susie. Okay. Calls
Wow.
me Susie from the get, right? And so I don't pay it any mind. I'm like, whatever, crusty old dude. So now we're in the first quarter. Now we're in the first quarter, and the other team has the ball, and they run a play, a dive up the middle, right? I have, again, second year officiating, literally no idea where the ball is.
Yeah.
Literally have no idea. There's a pile of bodies. They're in the middle of the field, right? So my other official, who is not a second year official, finds a spot. He lines up, and it results in a first down. So as I'm moving the chains, this crusty old coach comes up to me and he stands next to me and he goes, oh, so is that how it works, Susie? You just go where he goes? And I
Oh,
said, and I said, actually, coach, I was going to give them another 3 yards. And he,
great answer.
and I didn't, I think that was my honest, I think that was the truth. I actually had to readjust and come back to his spot. But he
Yeah.
looked at me sideways and he cracked a huge grin on his face. And he's like, all right. And that was it. And then like I had won him over. And so, when I talk to young officials or even old officials, right? I always say, number one, when you talk to coaches, use what you have. Right.
Yeah.
I have definitely in my younger days, I don't do this anymore, but in my younger days, if there's a defensive coordinator who just cannot figure out how to get off the field and get out of my way and stay out of the restricted area, if I have to talk to him every single down when they're on defense, at some point, if I feel like I have the rapport, I have in the past said something to the effect of like, all right, coach, now I just think you're flirting with me. Right. I got to talk to you every play. Right. That doesn't always go over. And I don't say that anymore,
Yeah.
but you
It,
got to use what you have. You have to
hmm.
use your sarcasm if you can, right? You have to use your personality. I find myself smiling a lot until I have that jerk coach who's like,
Yes.
this is serious. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. It absolutely is, coach. Right. And so,
No,
you,
and it's
you have
not
to
that
use
you're
what
not
you have.
taking it seriously, but you're just trying to, you got to keep a sense of calmness about you, about what you're doing too.
Yeah.
I find myself in the middle of the field. I'm singing along to the band, and the kids are looking at me. I'm like, come on, you know it, especially Sweet Caroline. Come on,
Yeah.
so good. So
Right.
So that kind of breaks the ice with them, and it makes the players feel a little bit more comfortable saying, Mr. Official, like you said, crying, I'm being held every single play.
Right.
But
Absolutely. And I think one of the things in terms of dealing with coaches that I adopted at some point along my odyssey is I have to keep in mind, I think as officials, I think it's so important to keep in mind that their livelihood, feeding their family, paying their mortgage is reliant on their putting their trust in this group of men whose
yep,
prefrontal cortexes haven't been fully developed yet, right?
yep.
Like, like, dude, it's stressful. It's a stressful job. I'm glad you got out of it, actually. Right?
It's about the wins and losses. 1,000%. It's about the wins and losses, and you're putting your trust in young men, teenagers, youths, whatever it may be, and the officials. So, and that's kind of where my perspective, I think, is a little bit unique from the other people that I officiate with. Is being the coach for 20
Mm,
years, I've said some stuff that I look back on, and I'm like, what the heck was I thinking? And now I kind of can joke back with the coaches. I'm like, Coach, you need to come up with something better than that. I said that 20 years ago. Like, come on, you got nothing new for
nice.
me.
Nice.
And now
See, you use
I'm
what
still
you
coaching
got.
the youth. Oh, absolutely. I'm still
Good.
coaching the youth. So I just went to a coaching clinic not too long ago, and seeing all the coaches, they're like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Well, you remember when you told me that that was a bad call?" I said, "I'm learning the game of football, so I could say to you, Coach, that was a bad call." And they're like, "Oh, yeah, that's not going to fly, is it?" I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
not really."
Right.
So,
Yes.
but yeah, that's great stuff. So the UFL, how is that? How is that going?
Love it. Love it. It's
Yeah.
the I love that it is the what The Rock said all last season. It's the league of second chances, right? All these guys are extremely talented, and now that the two spring leagues have become one spring league, the talent is even better because they took the best of two leagues, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if the talent is 50% better, there was a player, I think week 2 of the season, who did something unconscionable during a game. He like spit on another player, and
Oh,
right, and they cut him. They're like, you don't even belong here, dude. This is professional football, right? So
yes.
I do love, I love that the talent is better, the training is great. Like, oh my gosh, I have to pay to go to camps and clinics, right? But instead, you're actually, again, it goes back to like, wait, you're gonna pay me to go have game experience? Still, like, you get to like, I'm gonna be trained by the best in the business that are gonna look
Yep.
at my work and like give me feedback, and you know what I'm saying? And so it's just, as an official, we all feel incredibly lucky just to be on the roster, to get the extra work, to get the extra training, and the time. And I think one thing that's cool about it that doesn't happen in college is that I got ACC guys on my crew, I got SEC guys on my crew, I got, right. And so it's like you get to work with these people that you would never otherwise know,
Yeah.
right? And so
And
so
that's
yeah,
awesome.
last year my referee in the XFL was Jason Autry, and so what a fun group of guys that I got to meet, that I, again, would have never otherwise crossed paths with. And
Hmm.
he got there was a big game. He's worked all the big games, I guess, but like you said, like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing these guys on TV, not starstruck, but like, when he got rolled up under some people, like our group
Yeah.
text was going nuts, like laughing at him, like, but are you okay? Okay, you're okay. Great. That was hilarious. Like, did you see what happened to you? Um, so I think that's another really cool thing about like a spring league like that.
Yeah, that's great. So now you're working year round, basically, huh?
Yeah, but we do that anyway.
True. True.
We do
But
it
now you're
anyway.
getting paid year round more.
Now
So
I'm
now
getting
come.
that's a little another trip to Disneyland.
Oh, that's
You
terrible.
know.
Oh man. And you got to work the Hula Bowl a couple years ago. Am I correct in
Yeah.
saying that?
Yep. A couple
So
years
that
ago,
was down in Orlando.
it was, and trust me, I stayed longer, and and we went to Disney World. Absolutely.
Now
Kiddo
there was
came
something
out.
a little unique about that game. Am I correct?
There was. Yeah, it was
Just a little bit unique.
just a tiny minor thing. No, the NFL decided to pull together eight. There were actually eight of us, eight female officials, all collegiate level, all in the NFL's Mackey Development Program. Yeah, and they pulled us all together. They again, the training that we got unparalleled, right? I mean, so lucky to be included in that group, and so yeah, definitely the first time that any game of that magnitude was worked by an all female crew.
That's fantastic. That's
It was
great
super fun.
stuff. So to kind of wrap things up, I've had you on here, and again, I appreciate you coming on Whistle Talk tonight with us.
Blast.
This has been fantastic. What is next for Kat Conti?
Big 12, baby. Let's go. Um,
Yeah,
so one of the kind of off-season scuttlebutts, breaking news. The reason I'm as an umpire instead of a line of scrimmage in the UFL is because there might be an opportunity down the road um, to work into the white hat position as a crew chief.
awesome.
So that's something that I kind of have been, playing around with lower levels as I've come along. It's always been something that I think has been interesting. Again, I like being in the middle of the field. I like being back there. Um, I was a drama, I was a theater arts major. So maybe turning on the microphone is going to not be a big deal. Um,
Well, you're
but
doing a heck of a job tonight. I could say
thank
that.
you. Well, thank you. So I don't know, in the horizon, next 5 years, maybe I think that might be down the road for me, but, excited to see what the Big 12 has, new teams. Colorado, Arizona State, all a little
Yep.
closer to California than than Texas Tech. Although I love going to Texas and Oklahoma, and Iowa was cold, but uh, you know, Florida was far. But no, I'm excited for what the season holds, and Greg Burks is a great supervisor, great guy to work for. And yeah, just excited to just continue getting a chance to officiate football.
That's great stuff. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Kat Conti, Big 12, UFL, um, bowl games, championship games. Um, Kat, where can other female officials find you or find any references you are definitely an inspiration. I'm
Thank
sure of
you.
it. And we talked pre-roll. You said there's maybe 25, give or take here and there, female officials in major football right now. So what can you do, and where can other people find information to increase that number?
Great question. Thank you. So there's a female official in Philly named Ruth Onyekwelu, and she started during COVID. She actually started a very consistent um, national group called Women in Officiating, and it's designed to be a place where we can build support for each other, that camaraderie. We can have the difficult conversations that are and have always been uncomfortable in mixed
Sure.
company. um, we often have special guests. We've got supervisors come on to speak to the group of ladies, and but it's any level. It's literally female officials who are just starting out in their very first year of high school. If they want a chance to just connect and get training and have resources and support, um, that's a place to do it. We don't have a website, which I got to get on that. We got to get on that. But they
I'm
can,
making note
if
of this one
any,
too.
if any, I know, man, you're giving me homework, Mike. Um, no, but they, if anybody is interested in that vein, definitely find me on Instagram. I don't even know what my cat, the lady ref, I don't even know what it is. CC the lady ref. I think that's what it is. I don't even know. who I am.
Well,
But
if you're okay with it, if you don't mind, I could put some links, and if you want to give me any information, I could put that on the
perfect.
notes for the show. So we'll put
Excellent.
them out there and get them out there.
Do
So
that.
I've kind of jumped a little bit more into the social media world now with this podcast. So still learning it.
And I'm trying to like
Sp-
minimize it in my world. So yeah,
I'm
but
jealous.
yeah, well, no, you're thriving. You're going for it. This is fantastic. You're getting the word
Well,
out.
yeah.
No, it's
It's
awesome.
the other social media stuff.
Right.
I'm still a school teacher, so I still see the
Yeah,
other
it's
side
only
of it.
teenagers in the house. I understand.
Yep.
Yeah,
But once again, thank you very much for coming on. Again, an inspiration to referees, male or female, who cares? An inspiration because you're working your tush off to get out there and do your job to the best of your ability. So again, doesn't matter who you are. Thank you, and come on out. And thank you to all the listeners out there of Whistle Talk. Thank you once again, Kat Conti. Much appreciated. And hopefully we can keep this thing rolling.
absolutely. Pleasure to be here, Mike. Keep going strong.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Whistle Talk, where we unravel the fascinating world of football officiating. If you enjoyed today's discussion and want to stay in the loop with the latest insights, be sure to subscribe to Whistle Talk on your favorite podcast platform. Stay connected with us by following Whistle Talk on social media, where we share behind-the-scenes glimpses, updates, and engage with our incredible community of officiating enthusiasts. Find us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Just search for the words Whistle Talk. Your support means the world to the show, and we'd love to hear your thoughts, questions, or suggestions for future episodes. Drop us a line through our website or message me on social media. I'm always eager to connect with the fellow fans and continue the conversation. Until next time, keep blowing the whistle on the untold stories and nuances of football officiating. Thanks for being part of the Whistle Talk family. This is Mike D, the referee, saying so long for now.